In 1997, the Lusty Lady in San Francisco became the first strip club to be unionized by its workers, who won big improvements to their pay and conditions. Not content to stop there, they later took over the club and ran it as the world's first worker-controlled strip joint. This is working class history.
Ooh, look at those ladies in there. Oh my God.
Come see the hotties working at the Lusty Lady. Come on in and take a dollar in that party. Come see the hotties working at the Lusty Lady. Come on in and take a dollar in that slotty. Watch that window go.
The Lusty wasn't a conventional strip club, it was a peep show. Cinnamon Maxine worked there from 2007 until 2011 and explains how its business model worked.
The money was from clients and customers that would come in and slide. At first, it was coins. I guess it used to be 25 cents or something for a few seconds. A window would go up and there'd be somebody dancing on the other side. And later, after it co-opted, it started taking dollars. Customers would slide dollar bills into a dollar slot and a window would go up. And like I said, there'd be somebody dancing on the other side. There were also video booths, and those are pretty popular, but of course, there's nobody in there with you.
Antonia Crane started work there 12 years earlier, in 1995.
I had just gotten sober. I was a dancer also. I was a dancer in like 92 at the clubs, and I had a drug and alcohol problem. And I was just getting sober and getting on my feet and getting my life back together. And I had a few months sober, and I literally got sober, and a few months later realized that I owed all these people money and was trying to build a beautiful life and fix the wreckage that I had created. And I realized that I needed to start dancing again. The girls that worked there were incredibly together. They were, they had bicycles and skateboards and savings accounts and partners. And I was just a young punk dyke stripper with stitches on my wrists and a dog collar. And I walked into, a place where there was this incredible group of women working, and they weren't going to take any shit. And so I got on board. It's kind of the opposite narrative that you hear. Some people talk about the downward spiral and how they ended up a stripper, shooting drugs. I did the opposite. I was trying to get my life together, so I decided to start stripping again so that I could get my life back together and have some personal agency and pay my rent and get my license, my driver's license back and all of that.
The Lusty had a really diverse, alternative and queer workforce of around 80, who were nearly all women apart from a handful of male support staff. There was a great camaraderie, which was a big help for organising efforts.
I would say it was much more diverse than a lot of the other clubs at the time, as far as body types and styles. And, you could have tattoos and you could have whatever, short hair, long hair, blue hair, whatever you wanted.
This is Pandora, who back then danced under the name Princess. She worked at the Lusty from around 1999-2000 up until 2013.
I mean, we would just goof around, and there was just like a lot of laughing and a lot of support and love there. Part of the dressing room was sort of underground, and it felt like this little sort of rabbit warren, and you'd like come in and you'd punch in and you'd go downstairs, and as soon as you went in there, it was like you were in this magic sort of pink bubble. Everything just was sort of sparkly, and there were just boobs everywhere and hugs, and everyone was chasing each other around and smacking each other on the butt, and in a consensual way, not in a sexual harassment at work way. The fantasy that, that we're all down there having pillow fights, mostly there was a lot of knitting and studying. It felt like a really safe, happy place to me.
Another feature of the Lusty, which also made it easier to organise, was its payroll system.
One of the things that the Lusty did have that made it easier than other clubs is, even before the co-op, the amount of money that someone else made or didn't affect how much money you did or didn't. So there wasn't a competitive vibe. That's one of the things with the other clubs, is your coworkers are also your competitors. I made more money. It went on everyone's paycheck, so everyone was supporting me, and vice versa. So that helped. I think that was something that we had that other clubs didn't have.
Despite the upsides of working there, the Lusty wasn't without its problems.
The main issues were if you were going to miss a shift or something, that in order to get someone to cover your shift, that you would have to get someone who basically what their standard of beauty was, or what their idea of what they thought would make more money was. So someone had to have your hair length or longer, your breast size or larger, your weight or lower.
If a black dancer couldn't come into work, she had to find somebody as light as her or lighter to go in.
So if you got sick, in order to get someone to cover your shift, they had to meet all of those criteria, which also meant that anyone who fit all of those criteria couldn't get anyone to cover their shift. So those people actually had a harder time, so they'd get fired because they couldn't get someone to cover their shift. Or they would come into work sick, and we work in a small glass box all together, so they would be in there coughing and sneezing and get everyone else sick, and it was a disaster. And then the other issue that we dealt with was with the private pleasures booth.
So in a one-on-one booth, it's instead of like kind of like a fishbowl like the main stage used to be, it's just one window with one dancer on one side and one client on the other. And shows started, I think, at like 20 or 40 bucks in there. So they started off at a baseline of that, whereas the main stage started off at $1. And the dancer in the private pleasures booth got a certain percentage, got a direct percentage of that money that they made in that booth, while the rest of it went to the house. So in private pleasures, you did have a chance to make significantly more money.
They did discriminate against people based on race.
Performers of color were frequently making less money than their white counterparts.
The private pleasures booth, which is where you made a lot more money, they didn't get the shifts because the club obviously is making their money first, and so they were of the opinion that they wouldn't make as much money and were less desirable to customers, and so they didn't give them those shifts, or they didn't give them the optimal shifts like a Friday night or something. So that was a really unfair labor practice. They were saying that they were trying to have variety on stage, but they only would have one woman of color on stage at a time, which is sort of as if to say one of them is the same as any other one, and it was kind of like, what? You know, so you could have as many white women on stage as you in a shift as you wanted, as long as they were varied in breast size or weight or hair color. But for women of color, they could just have one. And, you know, if you unpack that, it's pretty awful. And then the other thing was the issue with filming and videotaping. The club used to have some windows that were one-way glass, so the customers could see the dancers, but the dancers couldn't see the customers. And so they started filming dancers, and then, you know, and this is when the internet was starting and people were able to upload things and share them. You never knew if images of yourself were floating around being sold without your knowledge or consent, and where they would end up. So that was a big issue. The other thing about the two-way glass was that you couldn't see the customers, and you couldn't see, besides filming, what they were doing. And there were some incidences where there was one person who they came in and they started firing a gun at the stage. And if the dancers could have seen it, they could have seen, like, oh my gosh, there's a gun, and gotten out of the way. They couldn't see them, so they were shooting, and no one got hit, fortunately, but it was pretty scary. So that was another point of the things that they wanted changed. And then the very last thing was you'd work up to top wage. So you'd start at like a certain wage, and you'd work up pretty fast to top wage. As soon as you hit top wage, they'd start looking for reasons to fire you. And so all of a sudden you were like under this microscope, and like any little mistake. The first time around, I was let go for fixing my shoe on stage.
Of all the issues there were, the one that caused the most anger was the one-way glass.
There were mothers and teachers and people who were having anonymity in their lives as peep show performers, completely nude. And we were being filmed, and we didn't know what that meant then. This was 1995. And also, when we're talking about a live peep show, we're not just talking about like a little Instagram video where you see a body and it's very edited and pretty tame. We're talking about they could see the inside of our bodies, like they were literally seeing pink. And so this was really intense that we were being filmed.
These things had all been raised with management, but they didn't do anything about it. Then one day, for the workers, there was a final straw.
We were all on stage together, and Star saw a red light, and she said, "Move over, you're being filmed." And we were like, "What are you talking about?" And it looked like the end of a cigarette burning, and we had this one-way glass in certain booths. So this was in the early to mid 90s, and people were coming in with cameras and filming us. She stormed off stage, and she was just like, "Fuck this shit," basically. And she was 19 at the time, total badass. And she asked the manager, she told them that we were being filmed, and they said, "If you don't like it, you can go work somewhere else." And then she came back on stage at some point, maybe that day, maybe a few minutes later, and just said, "I'm going to change things around here." And then we did change things around there.
So they started to organise themselves. Unusually for strip clubs, Lusty Lady workers were legally designated as employees, unlike most dancers who are classified as independent contractors. In US labour law, this gives you the right to form a union. Antonia explains how they would organise.
This was 1995, so, it was all about meeting together and leaving messages on our answering machines. So we would meet before work. The Lusty Lady had a reputation for being women-run and women-managed. And this woman, June, was the owner, and we had show directors who were ex-dancers. So this was a really interesting climate. And they were calling their own meetings and trying to divide and conquer us.
While this was going on, the workers approached the Service Employees International Union, SEIU, a union mostly consisting of service industry and health workers. The SEIU accepted the application, and the Lusty Lady workers formed Local 790, the Exotic Dancers Union. Initially, management was shocked by the unionisation effort and quickly offered some concessions to try to buy off the workers, offering to drop the one-way glass and the racist one woman of colour per shift rule. But after 3 months of negotiations, they weren't giving in to anything else, so the women decided they had to take some action.
Basically, we had to get management to acknowledge our union. Of course, they didn't. We had to have an election. So we had an election. And meanwhile, Julia Clary was making a wonderful documentary about it. So during part of this, they were firing us trying to fire us and intimidating us and calling random meetings. And we decided to have what you do is you slow down production. Like if you're making pencils, you stop making pencils. So we had a no pink day where we wouldn't show any of our genitalia. We wouldn't show our pussies. You slow down production in order to show them that, they wouldn't have a business if it weren't for you. And that's very true in the sex industry. There would be no sex industry if there weren't women willing to perform and be entertainers. So, there are a lot of ways that you can do that. But back then, we would just cover our pussies and had a no pink day.
On-the-job industrial action can be extremely powerful. However, if you're going to take it, you need to be prepared to respond if management try to fight back, discipline workers, or make an example of anyone. The workers at the Lusty had prepared for this. So, when management fired a dancer, a single mum called Summer, for taking part in the action, they walked out on strike and set up a picket line. A couple of dancers stayed on the stage with messages calling for customers to stop spending money at their club, written on their hands, that they'd show them when the windows went up. So the customers left the club. After the last customer had left, management then decided to lock out the workers for 3 days as a punishment and just keep open the video booth. So the women kept up their picket line, chanting 2, 4, 6, 8, don't go in to masturbate to potential customers. While the lockout was ongoing, they had some pretty amazing instances of solidarity.
And we were also, picketing at some point, and a girl was asking us on the picket line. She said, she didn't want to cross our picket line. She said, should she work there? And so she literally got a job that day and then came out and joined us on the picket line.
The workers showed their power to shut down the club and stop its income. So after a couple of days, management caved, ended the lockout and rehired Summer. After the dispute ended, realising that the women were too well organised and committed to be beaten, and facing the threat of more strikes, management began negotiating in good faith with the union. After a few more weeks of negotiations, management finally agreed to a pay rise and many of the other demands.
We got rid of where the customers could see the dancers and the dancers could not see them. So we could see all the customers all the time. So there would be no filming. without our consent, because later webcams and things became popular, and so they couldn't just say, we're just going to film you on stage and make money off of it, and there's nothing you can, that protected us against that later. So the practice of people being scheduled based on what they look like, instead it was seniority, just sort of like any other job, that what you look like wasn't what determined how many shifts you got or what time you got your shift. A point system was put in. So basically the reasons for being fired or not were things that would, same with any other job, like being late a certain number of times or not showing up or, things like that, instead of just what you look like. Oh, you've gained some weight, so you're fired. Or you could just get any other competent dancer to come in and cover your shift. We went back and forth and finally agreed on most of the things in the contract. The really sticky point that they weren't able to get, unfortunately, was the closed shop. They ended up with open shop, which basically means that being a union member is optional to employees. That's usually used as a tool for union busting, but they wouldn't budge on it, so they finally conceded and we went for open shop. The compromise we came up with was that whenever anyone had their hiring process, that a shop steward has to be present so that they can't talk you out and talk to you about joining the union right then, so that the management can't bully people into not joining, because if they have a certain percent that are not union members, then they can start union busting. So we just said, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then we're going to make sure that we're always there when you talk to new employees.
Despite not winning a union shop, the workers were successful in maintaining a really high union density, with over 90% of workers voluntarily joining the union. So for the employees, daily life at the Lusty got a lot better. But over time, the owners seemed to lose interest in the club and pretty much started running it into the ground. So the workers decided to take things into their own hands.
So around, I think it was 2002, 2003, sort of the numbers weren't adding up, and so people asked to see them, and there were a lot of errors. So that happened. People weren't getting paid what they should, and things weren't getting fixed, and things weren't getting taken care of. So there was some looking into the books, and things weren't quite right. And then also they were losing money. Internet porn was happening. A lot of other things were happening that were making it less lucrative for what we were doing. But they could have been doing a lot of things to bring in more money. They were doing no advertising. Didn't do any capital improvements to the theater. So they just sort of let it fall apart. No one knew we were there. They just didn't care anymore. The people that had owned it were just over it and just kind of letting it run itself down. And so they were going to let it close. But for all the dancers that worked there, they'd worked so hard with the union and everything else. And I mean, it's only a couple of years since, 5-6 years since, we'd gotten the union thing going. And they're like, okay, well then we're just going to close. And it felt like, no, we just made it good in here. So I decided to pool our money and buy the business. So there was some back and forth, negotiating with that, and then bought it for, I think it was $400,000 was the initial payment. And then we paid it off over the course of 5 years. We made a big payment, and then everyone bought in and became a shareholder. And then we paid off buying the business and then became shareholders of the business.
It was after the Lusty became a co-op that Cinnamon started working there.
I bumped into an old friend who told me about the Lusty, and I thought it sounded amazing, and I called and got an audition, and I fell in love with the place. It felt really flexible, at least more in the business hours that I wanted to work, which was nighttime, and it paid well. And I only had to work a few days a week to make the pay that I would have been making at Safeway. The Lusty Lady was the only place that would ever hire me as a dancer because of my size and because the dancer community can be pretty racist.
Here, Pandora and Cinnamon explain a bit more about how the co-op worked.
And that's when basically everybody who works in the business owns a little bit of the business, and they all make decisions together on how the business is going to continue to run. And that's what the Lusty Lady did. They were, I believe, the first strip club to do that.
We had our, our articles of incorporation and all that stuff, just like anything else. There's a board of directors, and then certain people who were the board of directors, which was by election of the membership, and then there were certain committees for different things, PR committee or whatever, and then a couple of management positions that were overseen by the board of directors. So you'd have what we called the madams, which were the dancers who did the scheduling for the dancers.
When you want to start in management, dancers can be voted into being a junior madam. And from there, if you want to be lead madam, the board of directors would hire you. You'd have to be working there already. They wouldn't necessarily hire an outside person. They'd hire a dancer who'd already been working there for a while. We had meetings, as I recall, every 3 months. We had quarterly meetings. Before the meeting, people would write notes to the managers, which we called madams at the time, and submit these things to be put on the agenda. And then at the beginning of each meeting, we would also take last minute agenda items that we wanted to try to get through. And towards the end, while we were supposed to have 4 meetings a year, we were starting to have more and more frequent meetings because the business really needed to be figured out. We would take votes. Sometimes it was a yes, no via pieces of paper kind of thing, but most of the time it was just a raise your hands kind of a situation. Voting would happen right then.
While the racist scheduling practices of the previous management had been stopped, an issue still remained in the co-op for workers of colour, which was that in the private pleasures booth, where workers could make more money by charging what they wanted, women of colour continued to make less than white workers.
At some point, there came an issue where how do we give these people the space that they need while also trying to help them make the money that they deserve without taking the work away, because that's punishment that they don't deserve. And the white folks were like, if they can't make money, then they don't deserve that spot, or they don't deserve to be in the booth. And that's not how you solve that problem at all. When I worked there, I think that most people tried to understand and make a difference and realize that those practices were problematic. I think that the other problems arose, but I think for the most part, people tried to understand. However, I think that there needed to be more work done. I think that people wanted to believe that they were doing the right thing because they owned a piece of the business and they wanted to do what was right by the business without understanding the complexities of race and classism and all of the issues that can arise in any kind of work environment. And I saw some situations get handled very poorly. And I think it was not only around dancers, but just, again, the general work environment as well. And it was really hard to talk about that stuff. And a lot of folks said that they didn't understand. But for me, as a person of color, it's hard to continue to try to explain the situation over and over when I feel like you're actually just refusing to understand.
The union continued to play a role in the co-op, representing individuals on cases to do with discipline, grievance and sickness. Union activists and shop stewards like Pandora also kept pushing for further improvements to working conditions, which was now easier to achieve as the workers had more say in the management.
I got us closed shop, which meant that everyone who was hired, all employees, were automatically in the union. And then successorship language, which meant that the contract rolled forward no matter who owned the business. And then sick days. Employees could, like any other job, if you could miss a shift, that you would be able to get sick days, because we noticed that even though people could get shifts covered by someone, they often came to work sick anyway because, it's the end of the month and it's an hourly job, it's not salaried. So rent would be due and you would have cold or something and you'd come in anyway and get everyone else sick. And also it's miserable to work when you're sick. To me, that was like, in my life of things that I'm proud of that I ever did, I felt like doing that. I felt like a superhero, and I'm still tooting my own horn about it. So,
while some people see workers' self-management as the aim of socialism, communism, anarchism, or whatever you want to call it, Unfortunately, workers being in charge of a business in capitalist society aren't immune to market forces in that society, like pressure from competitors to keep prices low.
We lasted for a while as the world's first strip club. We were able to coast on that for a really long time. And the style of strip club that it was, it being a peep show so that people could go in, watch porn, and also see live naked ladies and masturbate. That was different than the other clubs in the area. And I think that's what carried us for so long. But without a single person or just a couple of people to make the hard business decisions, I think leaving it to sometimes upwards of 70 people trying to come to one decision was really hard. There was a lot of stuff going on. We couldn't come to decisions. And especially towards the end when it was going out of business, decisions needed to be made and nobody wanted to make the hard decisions. And we couldn't come to agreements at the end. It ruined friendships.
The workers had inherited a bad financial situation from the previous owners. But then one day in 2013, they got some devastating news from their landlords, a corporation called Deja Vu, which already owned every other strip club in the city and a lot more around the US.
We were flatlining as far as our income was going, but our expenses were going up. Rent was going up. The previous person who was doing the bills and the booking and books, how can I say, they really were not doing them. It was a disaster. We kind of got handed kind of this big mess. So we did our best, but we were just scraping by. Everyone was, I had gone from making, $26, $27 an hour to $10. It wasn't sustainable for any of us. We were all just exhausted. And then we were informed of the renewal of the lease that they were going to triple the rent.
The co-op hired someone to help them try to raise funds and restructure the business, but they ended up going AWOL, leaving the workers high and dry, with only really one decent option left.
We realized that we looked at the numbers and we looked at the projections and where it was going, and it looked like probably in the coming year, it looked like it wasn't going to work. So we figured out that rather than having to, file for bankruptcy and go out with a bunch of debt and, whatever, that the best thing to do would be to making sure everyone got their co-op buy-in back, making sure all the bills were paid, making sure everything was good.
The person engaged by the co-op to help them had a meeting with Deja Vu, but didn't tell the workers about it. So they found out later that they would have to leave the premises within only 2 weeks, or have to pay $50,000.
So that really left us in a pickle. So we announced it and gave everyone their layoff notice and scrambled and got everything paid. And then the next 2 weeks was just kind of a nonstop party, which was great. We did it. We got out of there in time. We managed to run the theater up until the days before, and then we had to clean it out, and that's a whole other saga unto itself. A couple of strippers having to move a 500-pound safe out the front door with a piece of rope. It was ridiculous. But we did it. Having to do everything in such a rushed manner meant that we just had no time to figure out the best way to do everything. We just had to do it the fastest way possible. We still did pretty well. So we're stripping and we're moving safes and we're boxing up all the paperwork and moving it off to a safe location, literally all at the same time. And we just slept in there, and it was insane. It was the weirdest thing I've ever done in my life.
The workers at the Lusty Lady and hundreds of their supporters held a lively closing parade, ending up with a twerking party on the streets of San Francisco. Going past another establishment owned by Deja Vu, the crowd took the opportunity to vent their frustration at the Lusty's former landlords. Today, dancers continue to be massively exploited by employers who take advantage of their contractor status and various legal mechanisms to eat into their pay.
You cannot charge a person to work for you. And they've gotten away with this in the sex industry for decades. I've been a stripper now for 26 years. And this hasn't changed. This thing where the strip club owners find loopholes in order to charge the worker to work at the place. They call it stage fees or mandatory tip out. They have various titles, but don't be confused by the titles. It's literally wage theft. There's a lot of ways they do this, but literally what it is, simply put, the easiest way to put it is that they're just charging workers to work there. What I would equate it to is they're trying to treat us like hairdressers that charge you for the chair, for example, to come in and use the salon, and you have a receptionist and you have somebody washing towels, but you're charged sort of rent. We're not doing that. We're not selling your product, and we're not cutting hair. We're not coming into the strip club and building shelves. We are literally entertainers. So it's sort of like we have more in common with actors and dancers, ballet dancers, than we do bartenders, because we're not moving a product. We're ourselves. We're coming in and providing our own music. The money that it takes to be an entertainer is colossal. The hair, the gas. I work at a club that's an hour and 40 minutes away. The driving, the shoes, all of it, the maintenance of a performer. And they've gotten away with this for 30 years or more, charging women to dance there. And it has to do with this, for lack of a better word, pimp mentality, which is that you're my product, so I get half of what you're making out there. How does this make sense? It's because it's women's work. It's because it's women doing the work that they feel entitled to our bodies. This is about feminism, and this is about a system that has historically exploited us. And the system has to change. And the way to change it is to unionize.
On the subject of feminism, while most feminists see sex workers organising as an important part of the movement for women's liberation, some virulently oppose it. So for example, when we at WCH have shared the organising manual that Lusty Lady workers put together to help other dancers organise, we've received a lot of comments from these feminists saying we should take it down and that it's wrong to support women in the sex industry organising for better conditions.
I say that's not real feminism. It's just toxic masculinity disguised as giving a shit for women's health. It's not real solidarity. It's not real feminism. I don't know if you've heard this term, but we call those SWERFs, which are sex worker exclusionary radical feminists. You're not really a feminist if you're not actually supporting all women.
I think that they don't understand sex work or what it's like. They're mixing it up with trafficking, and they think that everyone who does sex work hates it, doesn't want to do it, wouldn't choose it, only does it because they've have, no other choices. But I danced for about 15 years and I loved it. If I wasn't old and my knees weren't crackly, I would still be doing it. I love dancing. I love stripping. I love everything about it.
This is about feminists who don't know what they're talking about, who think that sex work is something in which we are doing under duress or some system of coercion, and that's not the case. It's a funny expectation that because I'm an entertainer, would you ask an actor, oh, did you have fun at your job today? Was it fun? Oh, if it's not fun, then why are you doing it? It's like, guess what? It's work. It's complex. No, I don't always love my job. We're allowed to not have fun at our jobs, and we have every right to make a living and to have a sane and safe work environment. It's called work. You show up, you suit up, and you do your job. And there's a very strange expectation of sex workers that we have to be there having fun. And it has to do with a serious delusional confusion about what sex work is and what work is and how we look and think about work and what we think of women's work and what we think of the sex industry and the stigma there.
And of course, that's completely right. If work was so great, employers wouldn't have to pay us to turn up. And plenty of us hate our jobs, at least sometimes. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't organise to make things better. And the sex industry is no different. And if you do oppose sex workers organising, it basically just means you're supporting pimps and strip club bosses, making bigger profits and treating women worse. So really, that perspective doesn't make any logical sense. Now, some recent legal developments in the industry in the US may open up new possibilities for workers.
Today in California, and I believe also Washington State, now we are no longer classified as independent contractors, but we're now employees. This is a rare window of opportunity we have it's a slam dunk to unionize right now and change the system, which is incredibly exploitive. And we can do that now. We can do it if they change the law, and there are moves being made by corporations and tech companies because they want to take away workers' rights. It's about having workers' rights and getting those human rights pieces in our workforce and being able to fight for healthy, sane, safe working conditions. And you can do that if you unionize. And it's very, very hard to do that if you don't. And so now we have the ability to do that. Literally April 30th in California, we're now employees. I've been quietly watching this change and quietly hoping to do this. And finally, we are trying to do this. I have a group called Soldiers of Pole, SOP. And we have a talk every Wednesday night where California strippers can virtually join the discussion and find out what we can do at the clubs and our steps forward to unionize. And we've retained a lawyer and we're looking for backing, and we have 4 interested unions right now that we're talking to.
For Antonia, the struggle for better paying conditions in the sex industry continues.
I'm directing a documentary about the effort that we're doing now, the organizing labor effort that strippers in California particularly are doing now, called Soldiers of Pole. I have an incredible crew. Molly Stewart is my DP. She's award-winning, and she's 25. She's just incredible. And Jed Bell, and I have this incredible crew. And we are actually filming the women of a certain Lusty Lady vintage and bringing them along. And it's about women helping other women. It's about the Lusty Lady women helping today's women. And the conversation about labor and how we can lift other women up in this workforce and what that looks like. It's a roller coaster ride right now because every time I go into work, it's different. It's getting worse in the corporate clubs, I'll say. The clubs are really doing everything they can to commit fraud and to steal the minimum wage paycheck money because they've been evading federal and state taxes forever. And so they are actually stealing the money from the women's paychecks. And so these things are happening every day, and we're documenting that process. And most importantly, how women are unifying and the conversations that we're having with each other, trying to improve this workforce together. Hopefully, we will, again, have some successes. You know, it's the tiny successes that happen, and you almost don't even see it happening while it's going on. We just show up and listen to one another and just keep building and building until things change. You got to play the long game, which is what unionizing is about. It's playing the long game.
Shortly after our interview, Antonia helped organise a strike of dancers at the Crazy Girls Hollywood Club in LA against wage theft and sexual harassment on Friday the 22nd of February 2019.
We're not gonna pay to work. If you wanna see us twerk, we're not gonna pay to work. If you wanna see us twerk, we're not gonna pay to work.
And her taste of that pioneering victory at the Lusty Lady continues to inspire her efforts today.
It felt awesome to be a part of the coolest women in the world. It was really, really triumphant. It was definitely a win.
Those experiences of the organising campaign and the work of self-management afterwards also had a transformative impact on everyone else involved.
I will probably never go back to working for another straight job again. I mean, at this point, it's pretty much impossible due to mental health reasons for me. But that's also why the Lusty Lady changed my life. It taught me that I deserve to work in an environment that meets my accessibility needs. And if a job doesn't do that, I should not have to force myself to do that.
Whenever dancers do anything that any other job does, it gets media attention. I mean, even when we went co-op, we made the news all over again. And there was sort of when we were in the news, like even the tone of the coverage was like there was sort of almost a joke to it, like a bunch of strippers are unionizing. Can you believe it? I guess the advice they would give to them is to not believe the idea that because they're dancers that they have any less ability to do it than anyone else. I mean, if you can hang upside down off a pole, what else are you scared of?
I think that sex workers and adult entertainment workers need to absolutely organize themselves because no one else is going to do it for them. Nobody gives a shit about them. Nobody wants to see us succeed. And if we don't pull together and organize ourselves, we're going to fall apart.
We didn't, I think, know what it really meant to do that and what that was going to do and how it was going to contrast with the lap dancing clubs and what was going on there as corporations began to buy all of the clubs. I don't think we knew, what we were really getting into, which is sort of like the best, because you can really look back and say, wow, that was really incredible and stunning. And I'm so glad we're still talking about it and that we can use it as proof and as a springboard and say, we've done it before. We can do this again.
Come on, see the hotties working at the Lusty Lady. Come on, daddy, stick $1 in that slotty. Come on, see the hotties working at the Lusty Lady. Come on.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I would strongly recommend checking out the film Live Nude Girls Unite, which is a documentary by one of the workers about the original organising effort at the club. We've got links to that, as well as to Antonia's current campaigning in the show notes. We've also got a lot more info, photos and videos of the Lusty Lady, including the organising manual which the women put together to help other sex workers organise. That's on our website at workingclasshistory.com and linked to in the show notes as well. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed putting it together. We've been working on it for months, and it is one of our new wave of episodes we're spending a lot more time putting together than before, so we hope it shows. We're going to be doing this through 2019, taking time out from our day jobs, but ultimately it's only going to be sustainable if we get more supporters on Patreon. So if you'd like to support our work and get benefits like exclusive early access to episodes, bonus audio and more, please go to patreon.com/workingclasshistory. Or we'd be grateful if you gave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your favourite podcast app, or shared this episode on social media. Massive thanks to our Patreon supporters who make this podcast possible. Really, thank you very much. Thanks also to Vixen Noir for letting us use her track Lusty Lady as the theme music for this episode. You can stream it or buy it on links in the show notes. This episode was edited by Louise Barry. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.